Have you seen how Apple's products look? So this is the guy who's saying design is how it works, not how it looks, right? And this company's products, right? Most people don't understand, like they won't be able to articulate why Apple is better than Android or whatever, But people buy that because it's aspiration. These things are drool worthy, right? If there's anybody kicking ass in the looks department, it's Apple. So this guy basically trolled the world, right? And a lot of people picked up on that thing and they keep perpetuating that. A lot of designers kind of subscribe to this not because they believe in this, but they subscribe to this because there's been a movement about dribblization of design, right? There are certain people who sell only looks. There's no substance. The product is bad. The business model is unethical, but it looks good, so it does well. So it's more of a reaction to dribblization of design than true belief in this saying that design is how it works and design not how it looks. If you go back to the original saying, it's form follows function, right? And the most common model of articulating this is this. This comes from Aaron Walter, who in turn made this by looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Right? Pleasurable, usable, reliable, functional. Right? This is the model in general. And most of the people will tell you like delight is here, right? The pink pleasurable thing on top. It's not. It is in all these things. Right? Why do I say that? Is that if a product is very functional, like it does what it advertises to do, you will feel good. If the product does that every single time you want to do that without fail, you'll feel good. If everyone can use that product, your mom can, your dad can, your nephew can, right? Then it's usable. That will also make you feel good. And if it actually gives you pleasure, it gives you joy, you love an animation, you like a copy, you laugh at something, it makes you smile, that also makes you feel good. So again, if you go back to the definition of evoking positive emotions, delight is all of these things. This is my answer to your question of what if the MVP does not have delight. It's not possible. If you delete any of these layers and still do an excellent job in the other layers, people will still have positive emotions for your product, right? So it's nigh impossible. Most of the times when we're talking about delight, we're talking about surface delight, like animations and these kind of things, right? But that's not what delight really is. Delight is just a emotional connect with your product, right? So I would really like to implore all the people in this course, stop and also like stop trying to order these things. Right? The answer, as all great answers tend to be, is it depends. In certain industries, delight might be the only differentiator because your competitor already has a product that is functional, reliable, and usable. How do you enter the market? How do you create a differentiation? You'll have to do something in the pink section. Somewhere else, somebody might have a kick-ass brand and it's usable as well and it's functional as well, but it's not reliable. It keeps going down like Twitter used to go down in 2008. Fail whale literally became a meme around the world. So somebody, if they wanted to disrupt Twitter, they would have done everything that Twitter did, but over-indexed on reliability, and they would have probably overtaken the market. Right? So, and the other thing that annoys me about this, I'll come back to this slide after this, is this particular thing. So Aaron Walter, good intentions based upon Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And that's how it came to this, right? For me, delight is all the things. You can read this blog, being easy to use, being fast, being considerate of people's battery, using less data, being accessible, being localized, respecting people's privacy, being transparent about things. All of this is delightful. There is no single layer that gives delight. Everything gives delight. And this, to me, like the number of times in the last 15 years, I didn't used to hear Maslow's hierarchy of needs the first 5 years of my design career, right? After that, something happened, and people started telling me, "Hey, Abhinit, do you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? That's such a brilliant concept." First of all, Maslow did not make a hierarchy. Maslow did not make a pyramid. Maslow did not say that the things on top are less necessary than things at the bottom. Why this works is because obviously, like excretion and breathing, it makes sense, right? Like basic needs, right? But again, does software really deal with that? No. So this model is what I call, it's the Bhagat Singh of psychology. People have taken Maslow. He wrote something else. Please do read his original paper. You will find no pyramid there. And his original paper is Theory of Motivation. he wanted to write a thesis on what motivates human beings, right? And obviously, survival motivates people more than something else, right? But people took it and people made it something else entirely, probably because a pyramid looks better on a PPT slide. Um, and again, like if Maslow was around, he'd probably disagree with 90% of his super fans like Bhagat Singh would. Delight is not a magic fairy dust that you sprinkle on top of your products at the end of your development cycle. And I mean, I'm sorry for dark words. I'm not villainizing PMs, but yeah, it's the biggest problem here is that, how do you decide what the basic needs are? I think as a designer, the only entity that gets to decide what is basic, what is optional is the customer. You go and you talk to them. One person's basic might not be another person's basic. Another good reference, and by this annoys the hell out of me, is you see this thing, morality, right? And you see how morality is at top of the pyramid, right? As if being moral or being ethical is the least important thing. I think this assumption on people's part, on designers' part, on companies' part, that these are not basic needs has led to the world being such a trashy place that it is, right? If you haven't read, there are two books for me to refer you. One is Ruined by Design, if you haven't. Another is The Next Billion Users by Payal Arora, right? And in that book, Payal talks about people in the West going to countries like India, the developing world, Africa, right? And there's this privileged assumption in designers about, oh, that person's poor. Of course, they don't care about beauty. That person's poor. Of course, they don't want pretty things. People always assume that if you give a poor person money, the first thing they should or would spend it on is their children's education, right? On betterment. That's not how humans work. No matter how poor you are, if you actually go and talk to them, they'll probably spend it on games. They'll probably spend it on buying pirated movies, right? Designer's job is not to judge, right? And I think this contributes to a lot of problems that exist in tech and design. Sorry if I'm being too ranty, but I think I should be for you folks to remember this. And this is where we derive this from, and that is kind of how Delight got this, narrow definition, which basically is limited to motion design and something else, right? So if you want to make a better place, and I hope all the designers here, that's why you kind of got into design. This is not a pyramid. Flatten it out. Do not assume hierarchy. Check with your customers and then adjust the hierarchy.